Hello, everybody. Tracy Mrs. JDog Flanagan with you here today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president at JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures podcast, sponsored by the JDog Foundation. Our podcast gives the military community a voice in the veteran space to share their stories of service, how they continue to make a difference in civilian life, and they share with me a tactical treasure that has shaped their journey in their military career, business, or life. Today, I am honored to speak with Dennis Connors, who is a Paralympic silver medalist, two-time UCI paracycling world champion, keynote speaker, entrepreneur, and former U.S. Marine Corps intelligence operator. After surviving multiple traumatic brain injuries, PTSD, and two strokes that left him partially paralyzed, Dennis rebuilt his life through sport, community, and commitment to never stop doing the things he loves. Today, Dennis competes at the highest levels of international paracycling while helping individuals and organizations redefine resilience, leadership, and high performance. He is also building an outdoor experiences company that creates transformational retreats designed to help people disconnect from the noise of modern life, reconnect with themselves, and build meaningful human connections through time spent in nature. Whether speaking on stage, competing for Team USA, or guiding others into the outdoors, Dennis's mission is simple: help people reclaim what matters most and live a life they are proud to call their own. Hello, Dennis. Welcome to the podcast, and thank you so much for your service to our country.
Thank you.
Excited for our discussion
Yep.
today. We have a lot to talk about, although I do have a couple questions about your military service. What inspired you to join the Marine Corps?
Oh man, good question. I don't think I have one of those like traditional like I joined because of this, right? Like I knew I grew up, I had a grandfather, two grandfathers actually, who served in World War II, and I was always just like in awe of their stories and whatnot that they would tell. And then I had an uncle who served in the Vietnam War. So it's kind of like always in the back of my mind. And because I didn't have a traditional high school experience, I was on the national rock climbing team and I got to travel a lot and see a lot of places around the world. I didn't want to like go to college right away. I wanted something different. Not really good at sitting down. I'm not really good at classroom work, or so I thought at the time, kind of traditional ADHD kid. Um, and, I joined the military because I just wanted to like go do something more adventurous. And in all reality, I had this pipe dream of joining to be a fighter pilot, but I didn't know at the time that you basically had to be an academy graduate to be a fighter pilot. Um, and that was not in my wheelhouse at all. So when I joined, I wanted to do something more like maybe an officer track that would get me close to that and join an aircrew wing. But I think I was just inspired to join, and I was on the U.S. climbing team at the time, so I was already representing my country. And what other better way to represent your country than to wear the military uniform? And I never did anything easy, so I joined the hardest branch, right? And I had a great career.
The Marine Corps.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I think a couple branches would argue with you about that.
Well, of course they could try.
Especially the Army.
Yeah, of course they'll try, but that's fine.
Oh, no worries. Is there a particular aspect or moment from your service that stood out as impactful in a positive way for you?
Definitely. And this is one I talk about a lot when I'm doing keynote speaking and working with leaders and doing coaching. Um, and I call it the yes, how can we help mentality. So in the Marine Corps, I eventually got to a point where I was a counterintelligence operator. And one of our jobs was to be very unconventional in the way we think, but to do it inside the conventional Marine Corps. And military infantry commanders didn't really like that. So we had to have, some salesmanship, and we had to convince them to let us run our operations, which eventually always helped them, right? But we didn't do
Right.
things the way that they did things because we were intelligence collectors. But then a couple years later, I transitioned to special operations, where I was an intelligence collector in special operations. And in the Marine Corps, it was always a no. Like we went in, can we do this? Here's the operation, here's the plan. No, no. And then we would have to convince them otherwise. When I went to special operations, they had screened us for our capabilities and they fully trusted us and their screening process that we could do the job no matter what. And I kind of came up with this plan for an intel op to collect some information. And I was like, this is never going to fly. Like, this would never fly in the regular Marine Corps and the conventional forces. And I pitched it, and it was a yes, how can we help? And every single time, the mentality in special operations that I had as my personal experience was a yes, how can we help you? How can we support you? It went from a no to a yes mentality, right? A yes, let us use our assets, let us use our collective knowledge to further your operation, as opposed to just shutting it down and making me go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, how can I convince this commander to let me do this? Like ultimately it will help him or her like with what they need. And it was just always us running against a brick wall. And then when I transitioned over to that tier one unit, it was, yes, how can we help? What support do you need? And let's get it done. And that was like hugely
Wow.
transformational in my life.
Yeah. 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 I'm sure that's pretty amazing,
Mm-hmm.
dichotomy there between no and yes, how can we help? What do you need? What can we give you to support what you're trying to do?
Right. And then after I went back from special operations, I went back to the regular Marine Corps to a counterintelligence unit, and I brought that mentality with us. And people would come up to me and be like, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this because now I'm a kind of a senior guy in the unit," and and they would come to me, and I could see that they were like getting ready, and I'd be like, "Yeah, how can I help you? What barriers can I remove for this to be successful? What can I draw on from my experience that would help you in your experience?" And they would be shocked. They would be like, they didn't know what to do next because they were just expecting a no. And so they were prepared for a no, but they weren't prepared for a yes. And it just made me a better leader, and it made all the Marines that I worked with a better leader. Even when I went over to like an infantry unit, they'd come up and, Staff
Right.
Sergeant, can we? And I'd be like, yeah, how can I help you out? And they would just be shocked. And I think it changed a lot of Marines' lives. And I'm glad I was
Sure.
able to have that opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You get out of the Marine Corps
Hmm.
and you've had to overcome some pretty incredible obstacles. You had multiple TBIs, you had a stroke that you didn't know you had, and then in 2020, you had a second stroke, all resulting from your service. Could you tell me a little bit about that journey and how you navigated that and your journey to do what you do today, which is a Paralympic athlete?
Yeah. My journey has been extremely rewarding. I don't know if it's the right word for it, but fun in a way, like even with all the
Yeah.
hardship. I got out of the Marine Corps in 2012 after serving 9 years, and I went to graduate school, focused on outdoor recreation, wanted to build programs or based around the outdoors for veterans. Well, while studying that, I learned there was already tons of them there. Like it wasn't like something new, right? And one of them was a cycling program. And eventually my wife convinced me to get a bike and try cycling. And I was like, I am never, ever going to wear that spandex. Ever. And she's like, I don't know. I think you
Ah,
might like it. Like, it's really difficult. And I'm like, never. So I kind of had this bike and I was kind of sitting there playing with it, doing all of these, you know, outdoor adventure, outdoor pursuits. And during this time period, I was suffering from extreme nightmares. I was suffering from balance problems. Like I was suffering from memory issues. I was suffering from all the telltale signs of traumatic brain injury and PTSD. But I refused to personally believe it. I refused. Oh, it's not real. It's for the weak. It's for all these things. And it ate me alive for 6 years. Just ate my soul away to nothing. And I was one of these service members that didn't get checked. When I got out of the Marine Corps, there was kind of some like, I wanted to go to a unit. They wouldn't let me go. So I was like, I'm out. And so there was kind of like, I was like, yeah, just let me out. I want to get out. I don't care. Nope, nope, nope. I was never hurt. I was never whatever. Years later, I regret that I was saying that because I did. I had TBIs while I was in the military, and it actually took a group of veterans during the cycling program that I went through to identify it. So I started a cycling program in 2016, um, riding down the coast of California. And I rode down and I like barely made it down this trip, right? I came back the next year. I was like all motivated to cycle more. So now I'm wearing way more spandex. I'm riding all the time. Um, and now if you look at my laundry, it's like all spandex. And I got really into it because of the physical challenge, the community, the thought process you have to put into it. It was just really fun. And we had moved from Utah, where I went to graduate school, to Oregon for my wife's job. And it was much easier to cycle than it was to do all the other outdoor pursuits that I was doing. But I was still having balance issues. I was still having all these issues, and I was having these PTSD issues. And just slowly but surely, it ate away at my soul. But I went to this program to help others because I was fine, right? I didn't have it. I didn't need it. And then this community just helped me realize that I did. And it was in 2018 when my wife stopped a suicide attempt because I just got to rock bottom. I couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't handle not sleeping. I couldn't handle being a liability to my family. I got to this point and it was like, I gotta go. And luckily she stopped it. I took my first steps in vulnerability and got help and then started cycling a ton. I was just like, I needed to wear myself out, right? Like, and that was the best way for me to do it at the time. And I went back to this program in 2018. And finally, I was like, I'm going to ride in the fast group and I'm going to be at the front. And I was on the front all the time and with this group of riders and just pretty decent at cycling at that point, or so I thought. It wasn't actually that good. And there was a veteran there, and she was like, "Hey, Dennis, why don't you come try paracycling? And you should come race." And I was like, "Sean, I'm not disabled. Like, I don't have the disabilities." And she said, "What about your TBIs?" And I was like, "I don't have any TBIs." And she knew some of my military history, and literally another guy at the dinner table starts laughing. And he's like, "What are you talking about, man? You've been in like more combat and seen more of everything that you would see in the military than like all of us combined. You definitely have TBIs. Oh, and by the way, you ride your bike like a toddler, like the whole veering left into traffic and you're all over the road and we're either letting you off the front or you're off the back because we won't let you in the group because it's too dangerous. You definitely have TBIs." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh
maybe
my
I should get these
gosh.
checked out." So I go to a neurologist and I get them checked out and they did fine. They called me the next morning. He was like, "Hey, you've had multiple TBIs but what you didn't tell me is you had a stroke." And I was like, "I never had a stroke." But I was one of these people, like one of these service members that was in a position where if I was the only intel collector in an area, so if I left because like I got hurt or I didn't tough something out, there was a vacuum and people could die, right? Like if an Iraqi came
Mm,
in, said
right.
there is an IED or a bomb placed here, that information had to come through me because I was the only one that could report that information properly. And so I never like I just got and all the guys in my unit got this tough it out mentality that we had to be there. And so I finally find out about these things years later. And so I text my now friend Sean and I'm like, "Hey, I have this, a TBI with ataxia. It's affecting my balance." And she's like, "Man, that's like the definition of somebody who can compete in paracycling. You should come." And so I go to my first race on a normal two-wheel bike. In 2019, I stay with her and my now coach, who's been my coach since then. And I just absolutely fall in love with bike racing at that point. And I'm like, I'm all in. I'm like, okay, it's 2 years. I'm okay at this. So I think maybe I can make it to the Tokyo Paralympics. I start training a ton. Um, and then COVID hits.
Ugh,
So
yeah.
March 2020, I'm like full on, like, here we go. I'm in. I've been training for a year. Let's do this. And COVID hits. And then in May of 2020, at our house in Bend, my left side shuts off. I start slurring my words, and it takes a really long time. It's coming on over hours. I start dropping things. I can't control my left side, and I had a second stroke. And so for the next 9 months, I was in rehab. Like I had to learn how to walk again. Like we had to put me in the harness that teaches you how to walk. Like I had to get my like basically my nerves firing with electrode, like electronic firing, so then I could reconnect the brain to my limbs. And it took 9 months, but the whole time I'm driving my therapist absolutely nuts, being like, "Okay, can I race bikes now?" And she's like, "You
Oh
can't
my
walk down the
gosh.
hallway. You're not racing bikes." And
Oh my
so luckily I
gosh.
still had that coach at the time. I was still kind of riding indoors, and he was like, "Hey, let's try a trike, a three-wheel bike." And I was like, "Never." Just like I said I would never wear the spandex, I was like, "Absolutely not. I'm not riding a trike." And finally he was like, "Look, at least you could ride outside and like you could try it." And so I get an axle, convert my bicycle to a trike and ride down the road. And I was like, "God dang it, I should have been on this from the get-go. Like this is way better for me." And I should have been on it
Oh
even before
wow.
that second stroke. Like I wasn't veering off to the right, like to the left. I was could ride a straight line for the first time ever. And so then in 2021, I did my first trike race, and I did pretty well. I missed out on the Tokyo Games by 2 spots, which was pretty good considering I had done like one international race.
Yeah,
And the
wow.
U.S. team saw a development pipeline for me and took it, and now I'm still racing.
Hello, viewers and listeners. The JDog Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to prevent veteran suicide and heal veterans' mental health and PTS. 100% of all proceeds goes directly to the organizations we are partnered with. If you go to jdogfoundation.org, you can learn more about our mission, donate, and if you are in need of help, please dial 988. Our motto, saving lives one veteran at a time. Check us out, jdogfoundation.org. Oh, wow, that's awesome. I love
Yeah,
it. So, doing a whole lot of stuff. And I looked at your website and
yeah,
I see that you are kind of have your eye on the 2028 Paralympic Games, correct?
I do. Definitely.
Oh, wow. And you will enter that uh, with your trike cycling,
Yes.
paracycling.
Yes. So the
Okay.
goal is, um, hopefully, the goal is a gold medal at the LA 2028 Games in Los Angeles. So home medal. I was born and raised in Southern California, so that would be pretty
That would
special.
be
Um,
that would be very special.
yeah, I invite everybody that's watching this podcast to please come to the games. It's the Paralympic Games. If you've never been or never seen parasport, it's absolutely incredible. You can even talk to able-bodied Olympians, and they're like, "We think we're cool," and then you guys show up and do it with all your disabilities.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
So you're also a TEDx speaker.
Mhm.
I did listen to your TEDx speech
No, thank you.
on um, on your website, and I have to say it was extremely moving. You're such an inspiration, Dennis.
Thank you.
You've overcome so much. Um, do you do other speaking engagements um, for companies or veteran organizations?
Absolutely. With all the training that I have to do, speaking engagements are one of the ways I pay for this journey. Um, and I love doing them. And I think the biggest thing and one of the reasons I said yes, I would do TED is because one of the reasons I learned in the Marine Corps, one of the things I learned in the Marine Corps as an intelligence collector was we got to learn all the cool like spy like everything. They gave me when I went to SOCOM, they gave me a pickup truck, a bag of cash, and an interpreter, and they were like, "Go find bad guys." Right? So it's going around that we
Wow.
learned all of it. I've done it 200 more than 250 interrogations. Like we've done all the cool stuff, but all of that stuff that we learn or we've experienced is simply to gather a piece of information and communicate it to the people that it needs to be communicated to. And over the years, one of my best friends who is not in the service, never been in the service. He was like, "Hey, Dennis, like you've got this story that other people can learn from, and we need to hear it. We need to hear your lessons, and we need to hear you speak, and we need to learn from you, and you need to take that thought process and give it out. You have all this information for people." And I thought to myself, I have all this information and I'm not communicating it. I'm not being a good intelligence operator and communicating this to the people who need it. Be a veteran or somebody with a disability or somebody who's young or old and losing their identity. I had multiple identity issues throughout this with the disabilities and PTSD and my service. You need to communicate this, Dennis. And so keynote speaking is how I communicate this to people, and I communicate it to companies, I communicate it to leaders, communicate it to veterans organizations, and everybody in between.
Right. That's really amazing. And so can people like go on your website and reach out to you there to book an engagement to have you
Definitely,
come speak?
definitely. If you're interested in having me speak, you can go to my website. It's really easy. It's Dennis Connors, USA. And I'm sure Tracy will link it in the show notes.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so you can go there. And then I'm really active on LinkedIn. I think because of my age, I'm not as active. I don't do TikTok because I was a counter intel operator, and I do Instagram the best I can. And my Instagram is DC Rides Trikes, or if you just type Dennis Connors, it should be one of the first ones that comes up. But you can
Okay.
contact me through all of those avenues.
Right. I also hear that you are starting an outdoor experiences company.
Yeah, that's so. This
How's
is
that
new.
shaping up?
It's good. A lot of people are excited about it. I realize I take my outdoor experience, I've got a master's degree in adventure and outdoor programming, so it's something I'm really passionate about. And time again throughout my entire life, anytime I had a hardship or anytime I was overwhelmed, especially with work or with, family or with anything, the military, especially when I was in the military, as a climber, before, I would always find myself traveling to the outdoors. And I used to go to this place in the eastern Sierra Nevadas in California when I was in the military, after my deployments, after hard training, and I'd climb up this boulder that I climbed all the time as a kid. I mean, and I say boulder, but it's like 50 feet tall. And I would climb up to the top
Right.
and I would sit and I would just let the mountains take the load from me. And it was
Mm.
really welcoming to have them there. Like they're eternal, they're never going anywhere, and they could the wilderness could carry what I could no longer carry. And I
Mm.
still do it to this day. I get overwhelmed. I go like my new thing right now is fly fishing, and it's a great way for me to escape. I'm near running water. It's been shown to lower cortisol. If I'm overwhelmed with my cycling, I just go outside. And a lot of people don't realize that the benefit and the power in that. And so
Right.
this is for people who are overwhelmed, who need to reconnect with themselves, who need to reconnect with maybe they've lost something, or they're literally just fed up with everything. Like
Mm.
we call it the corporate BS detox. Like if you're in a corporate and
Right.
you need 4 days, but you don't have time to plan it. You don't know. Sometimes it could feel overwhelming because you've never done something like this. And that's where this business is fitting in. And so I'll be launching a landing page soon for people to sign up, and I'll link it through my website. But again, if you're interested in that, you can reach out to me through my website.
Okay, awesome. I'm excited to see how that takes off.
I'll send
That's
you an invite,
really cool,
Tracy.
Dennis.
You
Okay,
can
all
come.
right. This has been amazing, Dennis. Thank you so much for sharing everything.
Yeah.
But we've come to the time in the podcast
Okay.
where I have to ask you a very important question. What is your tactical treasure that you would like to share with us today?
Oh man, I think I already shared that with the yes mentality. Definitely, if
If
you
that's your treasure, that's awesome.
that's one of them. Like I think the other tactical treasure is throughout my life, and especially from the military, I never gave up on the things that I love to do. I simply adapted, right? Like rock climbing,
Hmm.
I've competed for the last few years in para rock climbing. I didn't even know it was a thing for a long time. Um,
Oh, right.
and if I show my passions to my kids and I follow them my entire life, then I am a happier person going into the wilderness. It makes me a happier person. And I follow my passions no matter what. And I don't give them up. There's a lot of people who've given up what they love for work
Mm.
or family. They give up who they are for something else. Oh, I'll do that when I retire. Oh, I'll do that later. Or, yeah, I used to play this all the time. Or they talk about it, but they don't do it anymore. Reconnect with that
Hmm.
because it will make you a better human. It'll make you a better partner. It'll make you a better employee. It'll make you a better leader. If you're fulfilled from something that you're intrinsically motivated about and it improves that self-love in yourself, one of my 4 pillars in my TED Talk, if it improves your self-love, then that is completely worth it. And it will always be there for you no matter what, because it's you. It's not somebody else or you doing something for somebody else.
Oh, I love that. And that is an incredible segue into my last question
Yeah,
for you. Any advice for your fellow veterans who are struggling
always,
post service?
always. So just know that as veterans, you are worthy of love and you're worthy of who you are just based on who you are. Not what you did, not what you've accomplished, not what you can potentially do, but just know that you're enough. There's a ton of people out there that love you for who you are, just for you. And if they can love you for being yourself, then give yourself some grace and love yourself for simply who you are.
I love that. That is awesome advice.
Thank you.
Awesome advice. Thank you. Okay, so if you could just do a shout out
Hmm.
to your website again so people can find and connect with you. And can people support your journey to the 2028 Paralympics? Can people donate? I believe you have a sponsorship page on your website.
Definitely. So my website again is Dennis Connors, and it's Connors USA, or you can just type Dennis Connors into Google, and it should come up. I don't have like a donation page like a lot of athletes. They set up like
Hmm.
GoFundMe's. I don't really want to do that because I feel like it's kind of a handout. Like I like to earn everything. And so if you're interested in supporting my journey, you can reach out and we can figure it out. I do have a sponsorship page and I do work with brands. And, and one of the big things I do with brands is I come in and I do public speaking and I share this knowledge and I inspire and, lead and help transform. I'm also doing executive coaching. So if you need a coach of any kind, you can reach out and then that would be a good way to help support my journey as well. And yeah, you could reach out to me through my website. If you don't know exactly how you want to support, but you do, feel free to reach out.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for all that
Of course.
information, Dennis. We'll be sure to give it out. Um, I appreciate your time today, and you are such an inspiration. And I think it is amazing what you're accomplishing.
Thank you, Tracy.
And I can't wait to see you in the 2028 Paralympic Games, right?
Yeah, hopefully you'll be in LA cheering me on the side.
Sounds great. Take care,
Great.
Dennis.
And
Thank you so much for your time today.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Tracy.
Hello, viewers and listeners. We've just finished up a very inspiring conversation with Dennis Connors, who is a former U.S. Marine Corps intelligence operator, a Paralympic silver medalist, two-time UCI paracycling world champion, keynote speaker, and entrepreneur. From elite military intelligence operator to world class professional athlete, Dennis is now on an incredible mission to become the first athlete to compete in both paracycling and paraclimbing at the 2028 Paralympic Games. Beyond his athletic pursuits, Dennis is a powerful TEDx speaker who uses his personal journey of perseverance to inspire audiences to find acceptance, healing, and communities where they can truly thrive. If you want to hear his TEDx talks, support his journey by booking him as a keynote speaker or explore becoming a sponsor to help him reach the 2028 Paralympics. Check out his website, Dennis Connors, and Connors is CONNORS.com. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget you can find Tactical Treasures Podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, on our website, tacticaltreasurespodcast.com, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. As an official radio partner, Tactical Treasures is airing on Reese Cross America Radio on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern for the encore. You can also find Reese Cross America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. JDog is honored to be an official Reese Cross America sponsorship group. When you sponsor a $17 Veterans Wreath through our group, $5 goes straight to the JDog Foundation to help heal our heroes. Your contribution directly supports our mission to prevent veteran suicide and provide lasting mental health and PTS resources. You can donate right now at reesecrossamerica.org/JDog. Again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again on another podcast real soon. Bye-bye now.